All right, so going to be doing another comic review, and this is from my good friend Chris. Thank you as always, brother. And today we're going to be talking about Ultimate Black Panther Volume 2, Gods and Kings. Real quick, I think the next few Marvel books will probably be Ultimate Universe because Chris did send me Ultimates Volume 2, and if I know anything about him by this point, he's probably already sending me Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 3, which will be out, if I'm right, I think it's next week. So next few like full trade comic reviews will no doubt be in the Ultimate Universe, give or take how fast I finish them. But yeah, so without further ado, let's get started with the review. So for context for this comic, which is written by Brian Hill, artwork by Stefano Caselli and Carlos Nito. This comic is basically in the span of the Ultimate Universe, Ultimate Black Panther, because it has been like over a year since I feel like I have to like do a quick synopsis because it has been like over a year since I did a review of Ultimate Black Panther, of all the Ultimate books I've been reading. And thankfully, Volume 3 will be coming out like early next month, so I won't have to do that fast of a resynapsis. But anyway, so Ultimate Black Panther is basically a comic that in the Ultimate Universe, T'Challa and Wakanda are at war with Ra and Moon Knight. Ultimate Moon Knight is a villain in here, and basically they've been at war, and now Black Panther, T'Challa has basically entrusted Eric Killmonger and Aurora, aka Storm, to help in his war with Wakanda, and also find out the secrets of vibranium, which is a metal that is like been part of Wakanda, but they're like really worried about it because this ain't like your typical Wakandan vibranium. This is something a little more darker and a little more sinister, which they do kind of have in the background of this comic. So yeah, it's basically been that like Ra and Khonshu, as they've been calling themselves, have been trying to or were the warlords and overlords of Africa by the Maker. But with, like I said, the Maker gone. Again, I'm reading in trade, so we're going by that time period. Even though, yes, end of the year, yes, the Maker escapes and we move into Ultimate Endgame. But anyway, at this time, Ra and Khonshu are essentially at war with Wakanda to take it over from Black Panther. And I'm just going to let that fucking ring because that has been plaguing me all day. Just these spam callers. I need spam blocker or something. I'm so professional on this channel, I swear. Anyway, T'Challa alongside in here. I also have to mention that Okoye is married to T'Challa. And their relationship is kind of strained further because the vibranium suit that the Black Panther wears is alive, and it's more or less trying to like influence him like a symbiote. I'm not saying it's this is the ultimate version of the symbiote because we do have a symbiote like creature, or send a ultimate symbiote in Ultimate Spider-Man. But who knows? Maybe this is how we get the ultimate version of the Clintar symbiotes in the Ultimate Universe. That's what I'm assuming. Again, we'll have to wait for Volume 3 to come up with that. But the whole thing also is that vibranium is a scary thing to T'Challa, and T'Challa is just kind of like, I don't know if I can trust this, but I think I know how. So he sends T'Challa. T'Challa sends Killmonger and Storm to find someone who can help with vibranium, and that person is the ultimate version of the Sorcerer Supreme, or should I say Sorceress Supreme. It's a completely new character named Inan. I think that's how you pronounce her name, and she's pretty fun. She's basically like, she's been locked up for so long, and she's kind of like a little unbalanced. There is no Stephen Strange. I think the Maker killed him, but I can't remember for certain. So yeah. I will say, though, that Inan is pretty cool. She's basically been, like, at the mercy of the Maker and his army and whatnot, and it's more or less been just absolute torment for her, and now she's showcasing, like, how powerful she is, and we're getting our first taste of, like, legit magic in the Ultimate Universe. Because the Maker's like, the Maker was like, magic is something I don't understand and I don't like it. So if I don't like it, then I'm just going to throw it away. Anyway, this is also to talk about, like, again, the vibranium is really really influencing T'Challa's thought process. He's becoming more, he's losing sleep. It's almost like psychological horror with T'Challa. Like, he is legit, like, fighting for his mental control of himself throughout the story. He is doing his damnedest to not lose himself to this. I also really like that, like, we learn more about, like, Khonshu, as he calls himself, the Ultimate Moon Knight. And remember, it's not Mark Spector, it's someone else. And essentially, Khonshu claims to be like a god, and he is like rallying these other villages against Wakanda because Wakanda has been so isolationist. And even this version of Storm is way more is like bitter about Wakanda because she's like, I've been on the receiving side of what the world is like outside of Wakanda. So don't tell me that, like, it's some perfect place. And I like that. I do like that, like, we're getting more of a Storm that, what if she grew up, viewing kind of, Killmonger's kind of thought process. Killmonger himself has been like a, he wants to believe in the Wakandan way and everything else, but you really do see that, like, man, this is, it's probably not going to turn out well for anyone, is all I'm going to say, is that I feel like this is headed into a really bad direction. And yeah, I will say, though, that, like, I feel like, because the conflict here gets resolved by the end of this arc, so now I'm like, where do we go now? I feel like Bryan Hill only had this story, and now we're going to move into some, like, go 360 somewhere else, because I feel like his initial pitch was, we're just going to have Black Panther versus Moon Knight and a civil war in Wakanda. Which I will say that, like, at least we're moving away from that, because I feel like that's every other Black Panther story sometimes. So at least we're not doing, like, I will say that, like, that was the initial pitch, but it does feel like, thankfully, there's something else going on. And I really do like that, like, T'Challa in this continuity isn't some dude who knows everything. He's not like, Marvel, like 616 T'Challa, where he's like, he's got backup plans for everything. Here, he's off balance, he's unsure. And the very thing that's meant to, like, help his kingdom is corrupting him. So I really like this this take on T'Challa, and I'm very curious to see where they're going to go with the character moving forward once we get to Volume 3. I'm sure some of you have already read that far. But yeah, I've been really liking this. I've been enjoying it. I will say that, like, it's not as, like, deep thinking, or it's kind of forgotten. I feel like Ultimate Black Panther's kind of forgotten in the echelon of the Ultimate Universe titles. But I think it has its own right to be there, and it's been pretty solid. So yeah, if you read Ultimate Black Panther Volume 2, let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of it. Chris, thank you once again for this book and others. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.